Hello Crow Coven and welcome back to our channel. If you're new, I'm Nyx with Crowmate's Apothecary, and in today's video we are going to be looking into how it is that people perceive you. So I'm going to be using the tarot to kind of step into their energy and see if we can pull out just their overall feelings about you, how your personality comes across to them, or even perhaps how they perceive you guys' relationship. But before we get into the tarot itself, I just quickly wanted to say, of course, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And of course, the gentle reminder of if you do like this video, go ahead and do all those typical YouTube support things, such as liking the video if you like it, subscribe to join the Crow Coven, and also leave a comment down below to let us all know that you've joined the Crow Coven. And also, real quick, is that if you would like to support us more directly, you can actually head over to crowmatesapothecary.com, and that's where we create our homemade all-natural self-care products. It's also the only place where you can actually find and book a private tarot reading with me. So if I have ever resonated with you as a reader, or perhaps you watch this video and you're like, wow, like that was so spot on, but I want something that is tailored a little bit more to me, I have more questions kind of thing, that of course is the location where you can find and book a private reading with me. So now let's go ahead and get into the introduction of the cards. Firstly, I actually pulled a card at the very beginning that I have not looked at yet that is going to be kind of the overall general feeling of this reading. So obviously we're going to delve into kind of slightly more personalized here, but this is going to be the overall feel for all four of the groups, and I have not seen it yet either, so I'm going to set it right there and we will reveal that at the end of these introductions. I have gone ahead and used the Wild Unknown Tarot because it's one of the decks that I've had for the longest and I read with it very, very clearly. So I'm hoping that it will help us and pull out some really awesome messages today. So, starting on the far left side, we have this Howlite that is going to be representing group number 1. Next to that, we have Rose Quartz that's going to represent group 2. Then we have this Raw Crystal Quartz that's going to represent group 3. And lastly, we have this Sunstone that's going to represent group number 4. So if you need to, feel free to pause the video to meditate on the 4 groups that I have set out before you. And then at the very end, after we reveal this card, you can head on down to the description box below, and then you can just click on the timestamp that corresponds with the group that you chose, and it'll take you instantly to your reading. So let's go ahead and reveal this card. So the overall feeling that we have for all 4 of these groups today is going to be the Fool. So this is actually very, very fitting. This is kind of a feeling of going out on a new journey, this fresh start. You have these like fresh eyes and almost this level of innocence about you. So this may be a reading that isn't you being like, okay, spill the tea, like I want to know like what's going on. This is kind of more of a almost like a gentle reminder of like how it is that people in my life see me, and you do have this sort of like fresh start, fresh feeling about it. It kind of gives off this like hearkening towards spring as well, considering you know this is going to be going up at the end of April. This does feel almost like this newness in your life. So for all 4 of these groups, we will have this very free spirit that we're going to be going with. So awesome, that's beautiful. And now that we have seen the collective card, go ahead and click on the timestamp and I will see you guys in your reading. Hello group number 1 and welcome to your reading. So in today's video, again, we are going to be talking about how it is that other people perceive you. And before we get super far into the reading, I did quickly wanted to remind you all to stay hydrated while you are watching. And also if you need to, feel free to grab something to write down any of these messages on so you don't have to keep revisiting this video if you wanted to remind yourself, of course, of what we're going to be pulling out today. So you guys chose the Howlite to represent you. I'm going to go ahead and show this off once more. And this can really help in bringing like new ideas to the forefront of your mind. So it kind of feels almost like people give off this perception of you that you are someone who has a lot of creativity. You do like to express yourself like in a creative fashion, or they see you as someone who's very artistic. I feel like they see you also as a hard worker and somebody who is willing to really put that work almost at the forefront of your being instead of taking care of yourself. So they could be maybe a little concerned about whether or not you are getting enough rest, is kind of the overall feeling that I'm getting. I really quickly wanted to pull a couple of tiles as well to see if we can get any initials. So this can either be your initials or perhaps the people in your life who are actually the ones who are concerned about you as well. So I pulled 5. The first one we have is E. Then we have A. We have another E coming through. Then we have D. And lastly, we have X, a unique one. And I'll set that there. And then real quick, before we get into tarot, I'm quickly going to roll this astro dice. So this can either pull out your sun, moon, or rising, perhaps the person who's thinking about you the most that this is going to be based off of, or the other feeling that I'm getting to is kind of like you potentially coming across as the traits of these zodiac signs as well. So the first one we're seeing is Sagittarius. So this here is our fire sign. This is a very creative sign. Also someone who is known for really going out there and doing things, kind of like how we talked about with the Howlite. Very much that do sort of energy. They could perceive you as someone who is very adventurous, maybe very independent as well. Next we have Taurus. And Taurus brings about this feeling of someone who is very, not even, I don't want to say like set in your ways, but like you have this very distinct way of kind of pointing yourself towards a goal, and you're able to really just keep on that straight and narrow without too many swerves. You might be able to be strayed away if there's something a little bit more exciting for you, but you kind of always find your way back to that original goal, and that is such a strength of Taurus. Taurus can also be perceived as someone who is lazy, but what I'm getting the feeling of is that it's more over like you know how to work hard and also play hard kind of thing. So it's like while you are someone who can have your nose to the grindstone, you can also be like, I'm just going to lay around and do nothing. And people might perceive you in that way. They might be able to pick up both sides of that as well. And then lastly, oops, this one just dropped. Lastly, we have Libra coming out. So this here can indicate someone who is very charming, someone who is very, very talkative and really enjoys kind of a group setting. Also someone who can be seen as balanced because Libra is represented by the scales. So it could be that people do see you as someone who you really have your life together, or you really have kind of a good hold on what it is that you are trying to accomplish. So I'm going to go ahead and set that there. And then let's get into the tarot. So we'll give this a good shuffle. I hope you guys have had an amazing week. If you watched the last video, thank you guys so much for attributing to that view count. It was so many people. Let's go ahead and get into this. So Spirit, can you please give me some cards to help us find out how people perceive group 1? We have Justice coming out in the reverse position, which is interesting. We did talk a little bit about the scales with Libra, so that's kind of coming through a little bit more there as well. Temperance in the reverse position, interesting as well, because this is for Sagittarius, so we've pulled out 2. of Pentacles upright. And I would like to pull one more, please. Get us started. The King of Swords. Beautiful. Okay, so let's go ahead and tap into this. I feel like when people see you and when they've been in a friendship with you for a while, they kind of can see how you may have been dealt a pretty poor hand when it comes to certain situations. That like it almost feels like things have happened to you in a way that is just like seems very unfair. As we're seeing in Justice Reverse, it kind of feels almost like um it's not living in misery and like wanting to live in that, but it does kind of feel like when you are trying to get on the right path and you're trying to push forward, something keeps sort of like happening that again feels just very unfair. And it feels very, for some reason, it just like feels really painful kind of thing. There could be some level of them recognizing that this happening has been something that's like contributed to like how you express yourself now. And you're kind of, it's giving off this feeling that you are learning how to balance your life and you're learning how to heal from these like past situations that you've been in. For some people, they could perceive you as disingenuous or someone who is perhaps either being dishonest or someone who is like imbalanced, but it's because they don't quite understand. It's like if they don't have the lore behind what has happened like with you in your life, then for some people they could kind of like be like, why does this person like raise such a like beige flag for me? Like I don't understand why I can't connect with them as deeply. And it's not because you're like hiding something, it just feels painful, so it feels almost like you don't want to express it to certain people. So like you keep yourself safe by only opening up to a certain amount of people. And so for some, it comes across as you being someone who is on like some shaky ground and they're not quite sure how or why they can pinpoint that. But for the people who are closer, it makes sense to them. Like it clicks and they are able to really understand that. So there's something to be said about kind of like how people who are outside of your inner circle, how they might act versus obviously the people that you let in and let see a little bit more. So if you are someone who's trying to kind of appeal to that outer circle for whatever reason, you might have to open up a little bit more. You might have to figure out where you can bridge your distrust and where you feel like nervous about sharing things about yourself and just open up a little bit more. I know that's totally hard to do. I've been there. I suffer through that all the time too. So I think that that's just kind of like the overall general feeling. But again, we did pull the Fool as a collective card. So this almost feels like maybe kind of like a realization to you where you're sitting there being like, oh, I did not think that I'm giving off that that like vibe to other people. And maybe now that it's been brought to your attention, you might be able to notice it a little bit more. There's nothing wrong, of course, in being picky about who you let into your life. I'm super picky about who I let into my inner circle, so I totally understand that need. But just in case, if you are kind of trying to have this new beginning sort of feeling, that might be something to watch out for. There's something to be said too about this imbalance that we're seeing here. So justice obviously is represented by the scales. And then temperance, when it's upright, is all about balance as well. So there's this overall initial feeling that when the way you come across to other people is that there's some sort of imbalance going on in your life, and there's this need to kind of like course correct. And that might not even necessarily be true. It might just be what they are thinking and feeling about the situation. But just because it is major arcana, it's something to kind of keep in mind, kind of watch out for, just because there is this ease of you might just put a lot of people like off kind of thing when they're first getting to know you. And I think a lot of that is just it's not like an abrasive personality. It's just more of a you almost like it's not that you're I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain it. It's not that you're trying to hide yourself, but you're also not trying to give a lot to that as well. We talked about that before and everything. So again, just keep that in mind. That might just be how you are coming across to some people. But we are seeing there's also a lot of strength and a lot of progress too that's happening. So there's quite this duality between like this like split line of these two sets of cards here, because the Nine of Pentacles does very much talk about someone who has accumulated a lot. You are very self-sufficient. So we were talking a little bit before about you potentially being someone who is seen as very independent, is like you are the person that gets things done. So either you maybe don't rely on any roommates to live alone, or perhaps you don't have a partner and you just kind of go off and do your own thing. Maybe you are disconnected from your family and you're kind of like paving your own way, and people are able to see that from you. They see that you are someone who is also very grateful in the way of you kind of like to put a lot of energy into the people and things around you. So when they start to get to know you a bit more and open up, they recognize how much you actually give to others. And when you receive something from other people, whether it be their time, energy, money, gifts, anything like that, you are very grateful, and it does come across here as very, very genuine as well. They also see you as this sort of King of Swords type, which is very much someone who has a lot of authority. You do speak your truth. So again, maybe it does come across as a little abrasive to some people, because you almost are afraid of being like, yes, I have lived like this harsh sort of like life, and I'm fine with coming out here and telling people exactly how it is and how I perceive the world. And so some people can kind of that can raise their hackles a little bit, because they might feel kind of like, oh God, I'm almost like intimidated by that, not even brashness, but kind of like that bold sort of nature. And this is also indicating that people see that you have a lot of these like very clear and concise thoughts. Again, you're not able to, or you're not afraid to like speak your mind, and you aren't afraid to also show that you are somebody who has this intense direction about you and the goals that you want to go toward. You're not afraid of talking about them. You're not afraid of being like, listen, I know it seems lofty, but I am going for this kind of thing. So there is this duality we're seeing here of kind of like how people almost feels like initially see you, and then how they recognize how you really are beyond those beginning to know someone sort of stages. So hopefully that helped out a little bit with a few things. We're also going to pull a couple more cards to kind of see a little bit further. So how do people perceive group one? Can we get some more cards out about their personality? The first one we're seeing is the Duck and Chrysanthemum with luck. So they could see you as someone who is extremely lucky to be in the sort of the place, the station that you're in your life right now. Maybe things are starting to go onto the upswing for you, or maybe things just kind of fall into your lap a little bit, and people are just like while they do suffer from a lot of injustices, they also are extremely lucky, and they suddenly get things that they seemingly manifest out of nowhere, kind of thing. So people do see that about you as well. They could also feel very lucky to have you in their life. So it could be kind of a situation where they think about how maybe like different your personality is to them, or maybe just like how unique you are as an individual, and they are like, I wouldn't have this excitement, I wouldn't have this support from this person, or be able to be in their life, and because I do feel extremely lucky as well. Also, we are pulling out the Weasel and Pine with introspection. So yeah, I feel like people who have gone through a lot, they tend to do a lot more like soul searching, kind of fall into that feeling of introspection a lot more than people who haven't dealt with a lot of hardship in their life. And because of this, it comes across, it really does, is like when you are speaking, you end up sounding far more like put together when it comes to your perception of the world, because you've experienced things. So obviously, like someone who has lived a very sheltered life, who hasn't gone and experienced life's hardships, is not going to have as wide of a horizon as someone who has. It's just simple facts. And that will come across in the way you speak, that'll come across in the way that you express yourself, maybe even the way that you almost feel like you have this sort of duality about you as well. And it could come across almost as confusing, because I've had that happen where people have been very confused about my personality versus my actions versus my words, kind of thing. And again, it kind of all stems down to we are all complex individuals, and so things may be confusing to people who haven't dealt with the same things that we have. So they do see you as someone who is very maybe not even necessarily introverted, because I'm not getting a lot of introverted vibes on here. I am getting someone who has delved into themselves, and they know kind of like what makes them tick, and they know the things that either trigger them or make them kind of react in maybe a more negative way. And because of that, you just have a lot of self-control and a lot of self-awareness for you. I keep throwing cards. Come on, can we hold on to them? Can I please pull a few more cards about how people perceive group one? We have the Badger and Ginkgo, and it says healing wounds. So we did talk a little bit about that earlier too, is like this need to heal wounds, or this feeling of being wounded, and them recognizing that there is something going on there. So I do think that people see within you this feeling of either you needing to heal from things, or that you have actively taken steps toward healing. And that's really great for you guys to like know, so then you can kind of understand that the people around you, while they do see this duality, where they do see maybe this imbalance that's in your life, they also recognize that you have been through a lot and you are trying your hardest. And that's all we can really hope for, is that people in our lives give us the grace to actually heal from the wounds that we have been dealt. So that is also great to know. It means that people that are currently in your company as well kind of understand where you're coming from, and they don't hold things against you. That can be extremely, it can be really painful to think that people, like that your friends think that you're flaky, or think that you're a bad person or a bad friend or something like that, because you can't give them the energy at certain times, kind of thing. But this is kind of trying to let you know that that's not the case. The people around you do appreciate you, and they recognize what you're going through. We also have the Elk and Ash coming out with strength. So they see you as someone who's extremely strong, whether it's strong-minded, strong-willed, someone who, again, has been through some harsh things in life, and you do have the strength to persevere and push forward. So kind of really giving off this overall feeling that those who are close to you, they totally understand you. I feel like when you first meet people, though, you do have this overall feeling of they're kind of trying to observe you and be like, figure you out, because there is kind of this weird change between who you show yourself as at times, and then suddenly there's this like switch up kind of thing, and they're like, wait, what's happening kind of thing. But I think that after you go through all this, you really get to see who this person is within. And I feel like, again, a lot of your close friends really understand, and they really appreciate these things about you. Let's go ahead and pull one last card. Here we go. So this last card here, we have the Moth and Eucalyptus with an ending. So there's some ending that they recognize needs to happen, it feels like. Overall, it feels like an end to this sort of either pain that you guys have been through and realizing that this is going to be a thing that happens, or an ending of certain mindsets that are holding you back. And I feel like that is something that they are seeing. It kind of is, it's like that feeling when you are there supporting someone in your life who's got a lot of grief that's happened, and they're sitting there being like, I really wish they weren't feeling this pain anymore. I wish they weren't feeling all of this grief and sorrow by themselves kind of thing, and that they actually could heal from it. This kind of gives me that overall feeling. For some of you as well, it is an ending of kind of like how they used to see you. So for some of you, this kind of almost feels like a very specific person who's been more recently introduced into your life, and you're going to kind of shatter this perception that they have of you by letting them in. So it's an ending of how they felt about you and how they originally feel about you, but because you've like seen this and you almost wanted like a sign, like a go ahead and do this sort of thing, there's this feeling of you wanting to kind of open up a little bit more to them. And so there is going to be an ending of how they used to feel about you and switching into something new, because we did see the Fool as our collective card. So there's this feeling of like this new beginning as well. So where there's an ending, there's always a new beginning that comes out fresh from it. So this kind of almost feels like you coming through and recognizing where now that you know how people kind of see you a little bit, and you do have this confirmation that people do feel very strongly about you, is that there's someone specific in your life that you haven't fully let in yet, and you are going to be taking those steps at ending that previous perception of you and opening it up into something new, because you've got that Fool spirit about you where it's very much a free innocence, this newness kind of thing, and you are ready and willing to kind of take this next step. So I'm excited for you guys. This is a very, very, very exciting reading. It feels very good too. We're not seeing too much when it comes to people like holding anything against you or anything. It kind of just gives me the feeling that they aren't sure how to make you out for a little bit, but then when they dig deeper, they see that there's so much more for you guys. So this was an awesome reading. I'm super glad that I was able to bring it to you all. And of course, if you liked this video or it resonated with you, feel free to leave a like, hit subscribe to join the Grow Coven. And also, if you did get this far in your reading, leave a fire emoji down in the comments below to let myself and others know that you did get this far. And also let me know if this kind of sounds like you, or if you have spoken with friends and they like they think that this is kind of like how you are. I would love to know if I was able to get pretty close with that. So again, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your reading. So in today's video, we are, of course, going over how it is that other people perceive you. But real quick, before we get into it, quickly wanted to remind everyone to stay hydrated as you watch this video, as well as this is your time to pull out something to take down messages with if you are someone who likes to have things written down. So I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side real fast, because the first few things I wanted to go over is, one, your rose quartz that you chose. So this obviously gives off this feeling of softness, affection. It could be that people perceive you in this way, that you are someone who is very much more of a like gentle soul kind of person, or perhaps they see you as someone who is just very, very affectionate. This can also kind of hearken to this feeling of romance as well with the rose quartz. So this could be people in your life who either see you as very loving, or it could perhaps be a partner and their feelings about you, or even a potential partner and their feelings about you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and set that off to the side. The next thing that we are going to do is I'm going to pull a few tiles of initials. So this can either be your initials or perhaps the initials of the people who are thinking these things about you. And I've chosen 5 today. So we're going to go ahead and show these off. So the first one we're seeing is P. Next we have E. Next we have C. Then A, and lastly, B. We almost spelled pecan or pecan. I'm also going to be rolling this astro dice, so we're going to see if we can either pull out your sun, moon, or rising, the sun, moon, or rising of those who are thinking about you, or even this could be kind of the traits that you show off to them and the way that they perceive you as well. So firstly, we have coming up is Gemini. So they could see you as someone who is extremely talkative. You may be someone who has a lot of ideas and you constantly like to chase these multiple ideas. You could be somebody who is very witty to them. Again, they see you as highly communicative, and also someone who, for some and most of you, is very analytical as well. So you like to kind of go over things in your head over and over again until you come to what you think is the proper conclusion. They might see you as someone who does that. Next, we have Pisces coming out. So someone who is very much seen as a dreamer. This can kind of mesh well with this rose quartz that we were seeing. So someone who is very soft, could be very loving, or very much want love. Someone who does kind of delve into their fantasies and dreams a lot more and enjoys just kind of even like the simple things in life and just being able to have kind of this aura of softness about you. And lastly, we have coming out is Virgo. So you could be seen as someone who, maybe you are a list person. You really are knowledgeable and intelligent about the things that you care to put your time and energy into. And because of that, you are able to express yourself in a way that seems like you have kind of like just like this inner knowledge of those things that you are interested in. You're very reliable as someone who you can always consistently go to this person and they will be there for you kind of thing as well. So they could see you as that as well. So let's go ahead and get into your tarot cards for today. So I hope you guys have had an amazing week. And if you guys watched the previous video, thank you guys so much for contributing to those views. We're almost nearing 1K by the point that I am filming this video. So thank you so much. Go ahead and tap into this energy. So for group 2, can we get some cards out here on how people perceive them? Ooh, this one's coming out fast. With the Three of Swords in the reverse position, the Ten of Cups in the reverse position, the Five of Swords. Interesting. And lastly, the Nine of Pentacles. So for some of you, this is like an extremely like easy sort of read as to, I think, what it is that maybe people see you as having gone through. For some of you, this really is reading as you being someone who has gone through a really intense hardship, specifically dealing with a relationship, and people know this about you. And they know that you are still healing from this, and that you are someone who does need support in this current kind of like time in your life. And they don't hold it against you is something that I really wanted to kind of like pinpoint for you and let you know that it's okay. I don't see this as negative, even though these cards here could be read as highly negative. I feel like it's more over like, this is a situation that you've been in, and they can see that this is a situation that you've needed to heal from, and that, again, they're not holding it against you, kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get into these cards first and kind of like let you know like how and why I've gotten to this point. So the Three of Swords reversed is this feeling of someone who needs to release this this sort of pain that has happened in their life, and also someone who does like to hold optimism to the forefront of their mind. So you could come across as someone who, despite everything that you've been through, you are still quite the optimist. You still like to believe in love. You still like to believe that there is something better for you in life. You're not trying to wallow in it, I feel like. You're not trying to pull the whole like, oh, woe is me, I'm like a victim kind of thing. It's like, instead you are trying to stand up for what you believe in, and you're trying to push forward, and people are really seeing that from you. However, this card, when it is upright, this talks about basically some sort of painful separation, generally talking about heartbreak and grief and sorrow. So it does feel kind of like you have been through a very rough breakup. So this could either have been a relationship that just held so much power over you, or just you were entrenched in it so deeply, or perhaps this was a situation where you guys were married and then you ended up breaking up, you ended up getting divorced, things like that. And it was a huge, messy affair. And because of that, you're now kind of picking up those pieces. Or, I said it before, with affair, it could possibly have been a need for you to break up with somebody because they cheated on you, and you are trying to take that power back by having that optimism of being like, trying not to take on all that pain from having been cheated. Instead, you are trying to turn it into like, they don't deserve me, and I deserve so much better than what I got from that person, so like whatever kind of thing. And you're trying to hold up that sort of mindset, not necessarily a front. For some of you, it could be, you could be maybe trying to hide behind that, but for most of you, I almost feel like this was you being able to release yourself from them, and you're able to push forward. And I feel like that's how you come across to other people. For some of you, this could realistically be the person who either cheated or you left or whatever. This could kind of be how they feel about you, or you guys' situation. But for a lot of you, this is how other people are seeing how you are growing, is what I'm feeling like. We do see here in the Ten of Cups, kind of, it's strengthening this case that this has to do with some sort of relationship that broke down, because when the Ten of Cups is reversed, this talks about some broken home or marriage sort of situation, or some sort of misalignment with values when it comes to two different people. And also these connections here, how there's so many cups, it feels like people are on the same page. So it feels very messy. It feels like maybe there was a he said, she said situation that came out of this, where maybe you were focusing on healing and this person ran around and told people all these different stories or lies about the situation, and people don't know what's actually happening, because they haven't cared to find the truth. And because of this, it's just made things harder or worse, things like that. So very much something emblematic of someone who is a abuser or a narcissist kind of feeling. So just know that it kind of feels almost like this is something, again, that you've been through, and people are recognizing that you need to heal from it. Again, you're wanting that healing. Next, we have the Five of Swords. And again, this talks about the sort of conflict. There's sort of being betrayed by someone or losing out because of underhanded tactics. So I feel like if this is the person that did this to you, is that their thoughts and feelings on this is kind of like they might think that you did these things when in actuality it was them. Obviously, I don't know the inner workings of you guys' situation or relationship, but it does feel almost like there's this pettiness behind it. But for people who are on the outskirts, I feel like they see that you've been through this really hard relationship, this breakup, and that you are trying to heal. Again, in the Three of Swords reversed is this want of healing. And then over here with this Nine of Pentacles, this card here talks about someone who is self-sufficient. You maybe you were in a relationship with someone to where you were living with them and you've had to move out on your own. So maybe you had to take on a lot more responsibility than you were used to. Perhaps you needed to find a new job because this talks about finances. Maybe you needed to find a job that paid more so you could live on your own, or perhaps you've done all that you could in order to make your situation better for you, such as like either moving in with parents, moving in with friends or family, kind of thing that can kind of help you as you go to get back on your feet, or you found a creative solution. For some of you, this could be almost like you moved into like a tiny home, or you even moved into like a van kind of thing, so you could live in a small space, but in a way that you can afford. I don't know why that hit me over the head, but it kind of gives off this feeling like you were in control of the situation to where you just picked up your life and you were like, you know what, this is what I'm doing now. And it does give off this very strong sort of energy. This also does talk a bit more too about you being able to be very grateful for the things around you. So it could be that people see you as very grateful, or they are grateful to have you in their life as well, is kind of the overall vibes that I'm getting from this card. I'm going to go ahead and pull a few more. So that's kind of the overall situation that we're seeing first and foremost. Can we get some more information about how people perceive group 2? Firstly, we are seeing the chipmunk and laurel with success. So yes, people around you are seeing you as very successful despite everything that you've been through. They see you as someone who is very resourceful, and you can go about and find things, even when it comes to this sense of like how I talked about moving into like a tiny home or a van or something, is like, even if it seems like a downgrade, it feels almost like refreshing to you. It gives off that free spirit vibe that we kind of saw in the collective card with the Fool, is that it feels like almost this new beginning where you are being extremely free. You're kind of allowing things to just happen so you can, maybe as a way to cope, but also as a way to kind of jumpstart this new path in your life. And people are recognizing that. And it is being successful for you. Kind of talking a little bit more about that smallness of like the tiny home or van or something like that, is you're doing something minimalist for some reason, is what I feel like, because we're seeing chipmunk as well, which is such a small creature. So I am getting this feeling of you are doing something that is making your life way more simple and that is providing success for you as well. Also, this card flew out, so, and I didn't even notice it until I pulled the first one, so this card definitely wants to come out as well. It says the wolf and rosehip with guardianship. I feel like people see you as either someone who you may have your hackles up a little bit because you aren't sure who to trust right now, or you are someone who they want to guard and protect. You may be the person who is guarding and protecting yourself, and that's coming through as well. But for most of you, I'm actually seeing this as you are somebody who's worthy of protecting, and they are kind of putting their energy into you to give you this level of safety. Again, I do feel like there's some background stuff going on that could be really shady that involved other people. And I think there may be a feeling that you are cautious around new people, or cautious about how people actually perceive you because of potential lies that were spread about you. And so you do have kind of this like, you're quick to not attack, but like you're quick to defend yourself, and I don't see that as a bad thing. That's a trauma response thing, so you are needing to heal from that. But I do think that people recognize it as something that you need to have right now because of the things that you went through, and it makes sense to them, kind of thing. Let's go ahead and pull a few more, get some more messages about how people perceive group 2. We have the eel and iris with safety. So they see you as someone who is very safe. They see you as someone who maybe now you are in a safer situation in your life. So if before they knew kind of about your relationship and what was going on in it, they see you in a much stronger place now, someplace where your safety has become your higher priority, and they feel very grateful for that as well. But for some of you, this could be simply that you give off this aura of safety to them. And so they do feel safe going to you with their secrets, with their stories, for advice, things like that as well. So very much a feeling of someone who's very stable and understands how things work, and you are not someone who's going to hold things against other people when they get to know you and get to open up to you. Let's get some more cards out. Next we have the snake and fern with starting over. Yeah, there's this theme here of you having been dealt this hand that was extremely eye-opening to you. It was kind of like a huge reality check, and you have now needed to transition over to this new beginning. And that was kind of the overall feeling that we got to from when we pulled the Fool card for the collective. It's this newness, this new beginning, this going about things with this like kind of innocent sort of mindset, because you are looking for new opportunities and new things, because you don't want to go back to this old. You don't want to deal with this old pain again. So you are trying to kind of jumpstart your life back into this sense of newness. And I do see this as something that can be very successful for you, but also something that is very healing to you as well. So don't feel bad about needing to start things over. You may be wanting to start things over with a couple of people in your life as well. Just be careful about those of you who want this. People from your past who may be tied up with this person who hurt you. You don't want to get trapped in kind of like their mindsets, or told that you were the wrong party or things like that, or people who are thinking that they want to start over with an ex. I don't think that that's what this is calling towards. I think this is you going on a completely new path, a new journey, and people around you are recognizing this from you, and they're not seeing it as disingenuous. They are seeing this as you doing it as a way to have to heal from this past as well. Let's go ahead and get one more card out. Okay. This card here we're seeing is the Opossum and Peony with Bashfulness. This gives off that gentle, soft energy that we were seeing in the Rose Quartz, as well as Pisces that had come through. So it does give off still this soft feeling, kind of this gentle nature sort of thing that even though you've been through some like really harsh things in your life, especially more recently, it does feel almost like you do have this innocence about you and this gentle sort of nature that people see. It could still give off to that feeling of wanting to protect and guard you, because you do have this kind of energy where people just naturally feel like they need to protect you. And even though you are deeply strong, and you do have a lot of experience in life, you're not afraid of letting people see both sides for you. So we were seeing that self-sufficiency. We were seeing somebody who doesn't give up even when their back is against the wall, but we are seeing someone who is more optimistic, more free-spirited, also somebody who may be a little bit on the shyer side as well, and that is not a negative whatsoever. It does seem like something that is sort of a strength for you. So overall, this is a very beautiful reading. I'm sorry if you have gone through a lot of heartache and pain to get to this point, but I do think that you have the strength to persevere and push forward. And I feel like people in your life recognize that this is absolutely what you're going through, and whatever it is that you're doing now, even if it does seem slightly out of character for you, it's you needing and trying to start over. It's you wanting to build up this new life of success for yourself and not get held back by the pain of this loss or separation kind of thing. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. If you liked it or resonated with you, of course, leave a like on the video. Make sure that you subscribe to join the Crow Coven. And also, if you did get this far in your reading and you wanted to leave a comment, feel free to leave a snake emoji in the comments below to let myself and others know that you got to the end of your reading and that you were group 2. And also let me know how it is that you're choosing to start over. Like, what are steps that you're taking in order to leave this hurtful past behind and for you to grow and succeed in the future. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hello, group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about how it is that people perceive you, you guys' relationship, and things like that. But before we get into it, I wanted to remind you guys to go ahead and grab something to hydrate with during this video. And also, if you are somebody who likes to take down notes and messages, feel free to grab something in order to take those down so you don't have to keep coming back to this video. So we're going to go ahead and push the tarot aside, and we're going to kind of get into just a few things as a precursor to the tarot deck. Firstly, we're going to be showing off again this raw crystal quartz. So you guys chose this to represent you in today's video. This gives off this feeling of, with the fact that it's this raw, like very natural crystal, kind of gives off that immediate energy that people do see you as someone who is, you're still kind of trying to figure yourself out. You allow yourself to be more natural, it feels like. And with crystal quartz, it's very clear, and it helps to really exaggerate or magnify anything that it is paired with. So you kind of tend to be the sort of person who puts your all into things, and it really gives this feeling of wherever you are, you really boost whatever that feeling is that's going on, is kind of the overall feeling that I'm getting for that. I'm also going to pull a few tiles for initials. So this could be either yours, it could be a nickname, or it could be the people in your life who are thinking about you and how they feel about you. You can find out a little bit more about who it is that might be thinking these things. So the first one we're seeing is D. Next is I. Then we have T, H, and lastly, we have C. If for some reason you have a nickname that's like Ditch, beware of the change of the D into a B. Let's not talk about that. So let's go ahead and now get into the astro dice. We're going to be pulling out either your sun, moon, or rising, the sun, moon, or rising of people who could be thinking these things about you, or even the traits that you may exemplify and show off to those around you. So firstly, we are seeing Sagittarius. So you could come across as someone who is very adventurous, someone who's spontaneous and outgoing. You may be very much I almost want to say a people person, but like in the way of you may hear that and be like, there's no way, I'm absolutely not. But you almost feel like you go out of your way to have a group of friends that you really deeply connect with. But at the same time, it gives off this feeling of being very independent. So you like to be around people because you like what that brings to your life, but at the same time, you don't have to have those people around you at all times. You are able to go ahead and do your own thing. We have Sagittarius coming out again, so this is a very strong fire sign energy that's coming through. So you could be someone who's very, very passionate as well. You kind of know all about yourself, even if you don't maybe like let it show to other people. You kind of know what you do and don't need out of your life. You're not sitting there waiting for someone to come swoop in and like take you by the hand and like drag you off kind of thing. You know what you like. And lastly, we are seeing Libra. So you could be somebody who is very charming. You could still be very chatty. Again, there's that feeling of being someone who is more of a people person. That's people pleaser vibes there with Libra, is you like to really go ahead and have just a good time with other people. So it does kind of give off this feeling almost that people around you see you at the very least as someone who is charming and someone who does know how to have a good time. So let's go ahead and get into the tarot for today's reading. I hope you guys had an amazing week. I'm just going to get this a good shuffle first because I don't remember if I did it after group twos. And if you guys watched the last video, thank you guys so much for contributing to that. The view count on that is awesome. As of recording this, I think we're just about to hit 1K on that. So let's go ahead and get into this. Spirit, can you please give me some cards that help us tap into how people perceive group 3? This first one here that's coming out is this King of Pentacles. King of Cups, wow. Very strong energy, first and foremost. The Four of Cups in the reverse position. And the Page of Swords. There's a lot of masculine energy here, so you could be male, you could be somebody who identifies as male, or perhaps you are someone who just has a lot of like strong masculine energy when it comes to like, you like to get things done. You are not very passive when it comes to how you feel about things or how you express yourself. People could see this as you being someone who likes to take charge, or you like to be seen as someone with this sense of authority. It's interesting that in a lot of these cards too, that there isn't too much color. We obviously see the color here in the King's antlers and then also the beak of this swan here, but then the rest are void of colors. So there's almost this feeling that I'm getting pulling from this that feels like there's been a little bit of time in your life that has felt stagnant and has felt like kind of like the color has been lost from your world. And there's this want to inject this sort of newness of passion and like love, a new journey kind of things. As we pulled a collective card in the beginning of this video with the Fool, there is this feeling, this overall vibe of you wanting to kind of start this new journey, and you want to come at it with this sense of innocence and this sense of this free spirit. Again, the free spirit aligns perfectly with Sagittarius coming up twice. People who have Sagittarius in their chart are known as people who like to go on adventures. They like to experience new things. They're also one of the signs that are known for wanting to travel. So you may be somebody who you need to kind of jumpstart your life, and maybe you're like, you know what, I want to go on a vacation. I want to go on like a soul searching kind of journey thing. I want to just backpack across something. You might be someone who's drawn toward those things, and that might be something to kind of help inject this newness into your life. And that's just an overall like vibe that I'm getting. It's not even necessarily how people perceive you. It's just a little bit of extra, I guess, on my part. But let's go ahead and get into the cards and see how people feel about you. I think they see you as someone who's very much in control of yourself and of your life. We're seeing these two kings here that give off this sense of control over your finances. You're someone who is disciplined, and you have this abundance for yourself, and you're able to exert this control over when it comes to like the security of your finances. So you seem like you have this intense ability to bring money into your life and not feel like you are ever lacking. This may be a perceived thing. Maybe you're like, no, I'm literally struggling on bills and I'm fighting tooth and nail to keep everything afloat. But you are giving off this aura to other people that you have money, that you know what to do in order to gain money kind of thing. And also you're a very hard worker is how people see you. Same thing with the King of Cups here, is this feeling of being very emotionally in control and very calm. You are someone who is compassionate and you like to hear from other people. We see in Libra that it could be that charming side coming through, that very talkative people pleaser kind of like vibe that's coming through. So overall, this general vibe that you give off to people is someone who is very much in control of both your work, your money, and your emotions. So you are somebody who seems like you just have things on lock, and you are very much someone who likes to display, even if it's a front, you like to display that you have everything together. But you do have also in this Four of Cups reversed, there is this feeling of boredom. There's this feeling of just, it feels like you have missed out on something and you're just kind of like coasting right now. And I feel like other people see that. Like they see that you are so bored in your life right now. It could be this feeling of like maybe they recognize that you aren't being stimulated by other things in your life, and you seem like you have stuff so together that it just feels like there isn't much else like coming for you, and you're so like, I'm just so sick of this kind of thing. And I feel like it reads. Like, I feel like people can pull this from you, and they think that maybe you have possibly played things safe because you do have all this security, but you don't have, there's like something, some big element in your life that feels like it's missing, and it's bleeding out to where other people can see it as well. So I want you to kind of take the Fool card that we pulled at the beginning, and we want you to experiment. We want you to try new things, even if it's something that seems to be risky. We want you to kind of push yourself a little bit more, because it just feels like, again, it feels like you're stagnant. It feels like you haven't tried to push yourself beyond where you're at right now because you're just comfortable. Does that make sense? And like when you hit that level of being comfortable, you're not putting yourself out there anymore than what you are used to. And because of that, you can't grow further. And that's kind of how people are perceiving you, is like, yes, you have everything together, but you may come across as somebody who you just are like nose to the grindstone, and you're like, I'm just gonna do these normal things that I do every day and be super methodical about it. And that can come across as you maybe being somebody who maybe you don't seem like you can be spontaneous or have a lot of fun, and because of that it feels like you're missing these opportunities with other people because you just, it almost gives off that feeling of like a type A personality, where it's like you're so focused on everything being aligned in order. relying heavily on your work ethic and things like that, but you don't know how to go out and party, and you don't know how to let yourself like let loose kind of thing. And that can come across as maybe you being someone who they feel like they have to be very like buttoned up, straight laced with you kind of thing. But I feel like deep down you do have this sense of want for this newness in your life. We're seeing in this Knight of Swords, I think I said page earlier, but in the Knight of Swords here, we're seeing somebody who is, you're very much someone who has like very strong opinions, and you are action oriented. So we talked a lot about that masculine energy bringing about somebody who's very passionate and somebody who likes to take action kind of thing. So you do have this feeling of someone who, again, you know what you want and you go for it, and people are seeing that from you. Of course, that's not bad whatsoever. If you like this sort of like lifestyle and you like this, you are on the right path, absolutely. But for those of you who feel like you're missing something, I feel like opening yourself up to communicate a bit more, because people already see you as very communicative with this Libra here, and you amplify everything that you are a part of in this raw crystal quartz, is that they already see you as someone who is communicative. But I think that you need to just branch out a little bit more in order to voice what it is that you want. I think that's kind of the overall vibe here, is people think you already have everything that you need, so they're like, why are they bored? Like, why do they feel like they aren't happy? And so you need to open up to other people to let them know what you want out of them, and vice versa kind of thing. Is like, I think that you should also be someone who's there to serve other people and help them with their goals and dreams as well. And that's going to overall really expand your horizon. I feel like for some of you, you absolutely need a vacation though. I feel like you've put a lot of time and energy into things in your life. I think it's time to like kind of reap the rewards a little bit as well. Let's go ahead and get into these cards now to see if we can find out how people perceive group 3 more directly to your character or to the situation that you're in. Firstly, we're seeing the Duck and Chrysanthemum with luck. So they feel very lucky to have you, is the first feeling that I'm getting. Whoever this person is thinking about you, is they really see you as someone who they just feel very grateful for having you in their life. I'm also seeing this as they could think that maybe you're very lucky, that you were either dealt a very lucky hand, or just because of your perseverance and the action that you take in your life, is that you seem to have things just fall into your lap. And because of that, they do see you as someone who's very lucky. Again, this might not be true. It might be that you're constantly struggling with finances, with your emotions, but you have such a strong front that they're really believing that. And so they see you as someone who's lucky, even if deep down you are just struggling with things that need to communicate that, yeah, you do have bad days and you are struggling with things. Could be something that needs to happen. With the antelope and wheat, it says nourishment. So you are somebody who I think really gives them a lot that feeds into kind of their higher self. So with nourishment is that you are somebody who you challenge them on an intellectual basis. You challenge them on this like friendship like level kind of thing in ways that aren't painful or detrimental kind of thing. Is like you bring this sense of newness and abundance to them, and they're like, again, they're very thankful for that kind of thing. You aren't a like empty calories friend. That sounded so mean. You aren't somebody who's just there for like the fun of it kind of thing, like, oh, I'm just gonna send memes back and forth kind of thing. It feels like you give them something on such a deeper level, and they really appreciate that for you, which that is how I operate. I like, my friendships have to be like all or nothing kind of thing. Like I need people to talk to about intellectual things or about things that have to deal with like really knowing oneself. Things like that is very important to me. So you might be the same type of person. Ooh, we have the Snake and Fern coming out with Starting Over, which is very interesting because we pulled this for group 3 or group 2 as well. Um, and this feeling of needing to start over, injecting something new into your life because you're feeling bored, you're kind of stuck in this nature that you want more for yourself. And also kind of combined with the Fool card again is that newness, that free spirit, that sort of looking at things with this sense of innocence again. I feel like people around you recognize that that's something that you want to do, and now it's about whether or not you're actually going to take those steps. Because for group 2, it felt more like they were in the process of starting over and they were really kind of going like really gung-ho with it. Whereas with you, it almost feels, I feel this level of resistance, and it could be this fear of you have so much already in your life that you're really afraid of, like, what if I take a risk and it ends up bad, or it ends up in this unknown that I'm not sure of. This is kind of letting you know, hey, it's okay to start over. It's okay for you to put your energy elsewhere, kind of thing, because I feel like you will have these people who believe this goodness about you. They're going to be there for you, and they're going to recognize that, yes, you need to take these new steps for yourself, because otherwise you are going to be bored out of your mind. I feel like they recognize this for you, and this is kind of your go ahead. This is your like green light of like, yes, this is okay for you to do. Next we have, ooh, I've got the last ones. Here's one. The other one just fell. Hold on just a second. And 2. So for the first one here, we're seeing the Skunk and Magnolia with Protection. So you could be somebody who is very, again, you're very protective of what you have right now, that you don't want to stray too far, but this is like a go ahead of like, yes, you can actually change things up. You don't have to have such a tight hold on everything. Or this could be coming across as their perception of you is that you are somebody who very much likes to protect your boundaries, or they feel very protective of you. So take it as it lands for you. And lastly, we have, which is also very interesting to me, we have all of these very demure kind of like natural colors here, and then we have this very bright color at the end with the mouse and buttercup and innocence coming through. So again, harkening back to the Fool card, this is very much representative of the Fool card with this innocence, and also 0 is the Fool in tarot. So this is very much aligned with that. Is it's okay to go on this new journey. It's okay to want something new for yourself. Even if you've been the same like your entire life, you've always planned things out, you've always had this type A personality or something like that kind of thing, you're allowed to go out on a limb and try something new. And it's not like they're going to hold that back, like hold you back from that or hold it against you kind of thing. We're also seeing with innocence is that maybe that's just simply like what you are. Maybe people see you as a very innocent like person, and maybe you haven't had to go through very, very like deep hardships, and because of that you have almost this kind of like this is going to sound like negative, but like almost like a naive kind of nature about the world, or this innocent nature about the world. So that's why people feel more inclined to want to like protect you, is like they feel like you are just such a hard worker and you really stick to a very small, contained, almost sheltered nature. And because of that, that's why you're feeling bored and you want to branch out and do new things. But again, this life has been good for you right now. And so for you to just like ditch that and go do something new is very scary to you. But I do feel like this is kind of a relief situation. This is a release of your worries and being able to know that you are going to be like protected, you're going to have luck, and you're going to be able to push on and do those things. And that the people in your life see you as someone who is really capable and really able to make things go kind of like in your favor. So whatever you're interested in doing, I really feel like you have kind of the backing of all of your friends and people in your life who are kind of rooting for you. Like they want you to experience new things and they want you to kind of push yourself a little bit more. So don't feel bad if you want to experience new things. Don't feel bad if you want to kind of let go of some past things and try something new, because it's absolutely going to be a positive for you in your future. So thank you guys so much for getting to the end of your reading. Of course, if you liked this reading or it resonated with you, remember to leave a like and also to subscribe to join the Crow Coven. And lastly, if you did get this far in your reading and you wanted to leave a comment, feel free to leave a mouse, because we're seeing 2 mice here. Leave a mouse emoji in the comments below to let myself and others know that you got this far in your reading. And let me know if you're going to take this new journey, if you're going to start over, if you're going to go on a kind of a soul searching like journey or vacation or things like that. I'd be really interested to see if that's kind of been on your mind and if you're planning on going through with it. So again, thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Hello group 4, and welcome to your reading. So in today's video we are talking about how it is that people perceive you, so how it is that they take your personality or perhaps you guys' relationship, whatever messages that may come through and whatever resonates, take those with you. So before we get started, I quickly wanted to remind you all to make sure that you stay hydrated, so go ahead and grab yourself something to drink before we get into it. And then also secondly, that if you like to take down notes or messages for all of the signs that you receive in these videos, this would be the time to grab that. So before we get into the tarot, I'm going to push this aside, and we're first going to talk about this sunstone that you chose to represent yourself, group number 4. So this can be a very joyful sort of stone. It can really lift dark moods. So you may come across to people as someone who is maybe a little bit more on the like happy-go-lucky side. You kind of are a like glass half full sort of person. Can also really help when it comes to developing your own sense of individuality or being more independent. So you could come across as someone who's very unique, very independent. You like to kind of go your own way and learn as you go kind of personality. Next, I'm going to pull some tiles that will have letters on them. So this could be either your name or the name of people who are thinking and perceiving you, or perhaps even a nickname. So I'm going to go ahead and pull 5 of these. So ones that I've pulled are T, C, L, J, and M. There you go. And then lastly, I'm going to roll this astro dice to see if we can pull out your sun, moon, or rising, perhaps the signs of the people who are thinking about you, or even just the traits that you exhibit. So let's go ahead and give you an example of that. So we have Taurus coming through. So you could appear to people as someone who is very hardworking. You like to go about a certain path in a way where when you are sure of yourself and you have all your information, you just sort of strive towards that one sort of goal. And for some people, it could, Taurus is known as sometimes as being lazy, but it's because the way they go about things is very, it's very slow and deliberate. So they're putting in the time and energy, not in a way that is coming across as like super, super passionate or like very hasty. It's very much like the tortoise and the hare sort of situation, is like they know the pace that they want to go, and that's how they are able to reach their goals, and that's how they're able to stay determined throughout. Also very, very stable as being an earth sign. The next one that we have coming out, this here is that fire energy. So we're seeing with Aries, you could come across, however, as someone who is very passionate. You can come across as very much a doer kind of personality. You like to be entertained by new things, so you like to experience new things as well. And because of that, it can sometimes come across as maybe a little bit like you don't have all of the knowledge that you need for something, but for some reason you somehow manage to make things work out all the same. Or lastly, we have Gemini. So you could, to these people, come across as very communicative. Maybe you are someone who is very analytical. You like to kind of replay certain instances or situations in your head to try to come to the best outcome kind of thing. You like to see things as like a puzzle, so you kind of like just twist it around in your hand over and over again to see it from all angles before you go forward. So this could be kind of the traits that you possess and how people see you. So let's go ahead and now get into the tarot portion. I want to make sure I shuffle it really well because I feel like I didn't shuffle it after group 3. So let's go ahead and get into that. Hope you guys had an amazing week. And if you guys watched our last video, thank you guys so much for contributing to that. I think as of the last time I checked it, as I'm filming this, is like I've almost hit 1K on it, so it's awesome. Let's go ahead and get into this. So for group 4, can I please get some cards out about how people perceive group 4? Seeing the 8 of Wands in the reverse position. The 8 of Cups upright. The 8 of Swords upright. Ooh, 8s, huh? And lastly, the Lovers. Amazing. This is such a great reading. So let's go ahead and get into this for you guys. So the first real feeling that I am getting from these cards here is almost this feeling of you kind of are holding yourself back in the way of like, maybe you're not physically or mentally trying to hold yourself back, but there's something that's going on that's keeping you more sheltered and keeping you more closed off. This could be, perhaps this has to do with a mindset where you feel like almost like you don't deserve good things in your life, so that's holding you back. Or perhaps there's been pain in your life before, and so you are kind of keeping yourself a little bit sheltered. But for this, when it comes to people perceiving you, I'm getting this feeling first and foremost that they see that you are kind of like, you feel a little frustrated right now in your life because it feels like there isn't that like sudden like lightning bolts like moment of like eureka kind of thing that's happening to you. You feel like things are kind of maybe a little stagnant, but maybe that they're not quite going the way that you want them to go, and that is coming out as feeling very frustrated. They could see you as somebody who is, you're just holding yourself back from a lot of things. This is the overall feeling that I'm getting, and they want you to push yourself a little bit more. They feel like you kind of have pulled away from things and that you have withdrawn to a point to where it's hard to kind of get you to open up. So you may be somebody who, when you're good, and you like are very talkative and very, you like to share things about yourself, but when you hit this certain mental block, it almost feels like you kind of can sometimes ghost people. Like you will just up and disappear and people like won't know what's going on with you. You could be somebody who's withdrawing to the point where people around you feel a little bit abandoned, and they feel a little bit like you are trying to escape real life and instead live in sort of like a fantasy world, because it's a lot easier to live in something that you have that sort of sense of control over, because it almost feels like you don't have this control over what is going on in your life. And they feel like they're seeing and feeling like you are really holding yourself back, again, as we talked about before, but also that you are kind of isolating yourself as well. So this probably stemmed from something very, very valid. Again, this could be mental health things that you're struggling with. This could perhaps be something that happened in your life that was very shocking to you, and now you're kind of going through that grief. Maybe there was a bad breakup that has led you to this point. There's a myriad of things that could have happened that brought you to this point, but overall, the feeling that I'm getting is that I feel like most people see you as someone who tends to be very positive, outgoing, loving, and someone who normally does have this vibrancy in your life, but you are right now just so contained within yourself, and you're not letting people in. At least that's what's happening when it comes to those who are around you. They feel like there's this wall that's been built up that they can't breach. And again, you're like closed in on yourself. See all this like color here that's all wrapped up within this cocoon for the butterfly? Is that they know that color is there, but again, you feel like you have to keep yourself closed in. And because of this, it is pushing certain people away. But I think, as we saw before in the intro of this, where we were talking about the Fool card, is that you want this new beginning to happen. So butterflies always signify this sense of metamorphosis. They're always in this flux of change. And so you are noticing these things about you, and you're kind of getting to the point where you want to open yourself back up again. Because the Fool talks about innocence, it talks about a free spirit and really pushing into this sort of like new sort of passion and journey into your life. And I feel like there was a need for you to kind of close in so you could realign yourself, and you want to spread your wings and you want to fly once more, is kind of the overall gist of what I'm getting from this. So I feel like you may have been a little confusing to people around you because they know you as this person who's very positive, someone who's very independent, and for you to suddenly just be very like drawn into yourself is very out of character for you. And that's something that people have definitely taken notice of. But for some people, they do know that this is sort of a like self-imposed restriction. This is something that you have done intentionally because it's how you kind of reinvigorate yourself before you come back out of your shell, kind of thing. So just know that there are people who do understand why this all has happened and why you're going about it the way that you are. And there's obviously going to be people in your life who don't quite understand it because they don't know you as much as those other people. So just keep in mind, kind of like, this is kind of how people are seeing you, but overall, they do see you as a very positive and happy person. We're seeing here in the Lovers, this is a very positive end card. To have this sort of outcome kind of card is that this can either be someone who they see you as someone who's very loving, or perhaps this is a love interest that sees you as somebody more, and like you guys haven't gone past that friendship mode, and they're kind of waiting for you to open up before they say anything or before you guys explore that sort of thing. The Lovers also does talk about you kind of aligning with yourself, with your values, making a choice kind of thing. So I think that there is this positive ending kind of thing where you just need to go at your pace, and whoever is going to be with you at the end of this all are the people who are worthy. So take all the time that you need to heal. We don't want to push you. We don't want to try to help a butterfly out of their cocoon, or else it will damage them and hurt them, and they won't be able to grow into the beautiful butterfly that they are. Same thing for you. You can't rush healing. You can't rush this need to have time for yourself. Just don't let it get to the point where it's destructive, because some people might think that you're kind of going through a self-destructive kind of phase almost, and that is something that they are worried about. So if you have the ability to do so, and you know that there are certain people in your life who may have raised concerns before, or you think that they might be nervous about what's going on, this might be a good time and kind of like an eye-opening reading to say like, hey, I need to actually say something. I need to communicate with them and let them know that like this is just how I have to go about things to heal before I can come out and be more open, positive, loving, all of those things. So let's go ahead and get into these cards now. So these ones are really going to tap into how people feel about you. This kind of more of like the situation that you're in and what you are struggling with, a little bit into how they see you. But let's go ahead and get further. Spirit, can we please get some cards out on how people perceive group 4? Ooh, the first we are seeing is the Bear and Cedar with leadership. So you are somebody that you are very much in control of your own destiny. You are somebody who kind of leads the pack. So maybe that's why so many people have noticed is that this is very out of character for you to suddenly be so pulled away from yourself. Especially seeing with that Aries kind of energy is you could be somebody who really leads the charge kind of thing. And when you are off, it just comes across as so strange. They're like, wait, what's happening? kind of thing. So they do look to you as someone who is the leader, who maybe you're the person who like makes all the plans. And when you're not in the right mindset or you're not able to do that, they're like, wait, why is nothing happening? Why aren't we all hanging out? It's because you're the one that's normally bringing the friend group together kind of thing. So they are seeing that and they're recognizing how that is affecting you. But I do think that they see you also as a capable leader. So even if you aren't somebody who tends to be in the leader role, they kind of almost look to you as a leader. So even if you think that you're more aligned with a follower, is like, I think you inspire people. And that's what makes you a leader to them, is that you do have this sense of authority, even if you don't understand that you have that. We have the Hare and Oak, and this says new opportunities. So this kind of gives off that feeling of the Fool card, that feeling of change, needing to branch out and make a choice and go into a new beginning. They see you as somebody who can either lead them to a new opportunity, or they see that there are new opportunities currently in your life. Again, we kind of talked briefly about the potential of somebody who may be waiting to say that they have feelings for you. They may see this as a new opportunity, a new relationship that could happen, but they're waiting for the right moment. They don't want to like pester you while you are going through this like soul searching kind of phase. So just keep your eye open. I really get the feeling that there's somebody that's like crushing on you pretty heavily, and they want to express it, but they just know that the timing isn't right. So keep yourself open to that. Don't be closed off from it. Obviously, if you have a partner, this could be a situation where they may want to go down a new like avenue with you. Like maybe they want to propose, or maybe they want to go on like a really like fun and romantic like vacation with you or something, but they feel nervous about bringing it up because they know that you're not in the right mindset. Or maybe even like a new partnership, such as like maybe you guys are going to start a business with one another and they want to bring it up, but again, they know that you're not in the right headspace. So just keep in mind those signs and kind of look out for those things as well. Let's pull a few more. Next, we have the Horse and Bluebell with modest fortitude. So you are someone who you aren't loud when it comes to your strengths. So you very much kind of like how we saw in Taurus is that you kind of like come up to your goals, you set them, you get a plan in place, and then you go forth with that and you try to keep this even pace toward these goals instead of somebody who's going to be like loud and brash about it. It gives off this feeling of this calm, cool, collected kind of leader instead of somebody who like really rushes forward and is the one taking like extreme like charge of everything. Is that you have much more calm and compassionate sort of energy about you, a gentle energy, like how we're seeing with the Lovers kind of thing, where you would much rather unify people under this umbrella of just again, this like gentle and calm sort of nature. And I feel like people see that in you. They realize that you are someone who you work in the background a lot more than being at the forefront of everything. So that's kind of ties into that leadership vibes. You might not think you're one, but I think other people see you as one because you do have this strength about you. Next, we have the eel and iris with safety. So either they want to keep you safe or they see you as a safe person. So it's very possible that they see you as somebody who they can go to for advice. My apologies, my voice was going. You can be someone that they can go to for comfort, for advice, or they know that you aren't going to just like rat out all of their secrets. They know that you're somebody who is very safe when it comes to being able to open up to you. So I think that they see you as someone very trustworthy as well. And they also see you in a place of safety. So if you feel like you're unsafe with people, obviously trust your gut with that. Be very careful about who you open yourself up to and what situations you are presiding in. But I feel like this is kind of hearkening to a level of you, like letting you know that you are safe where you are and you're safe with the people that you're with. So if you are for some reason holding back a secret about yourself, or you're not opening up to people about something in particular, I feel like you will be able to do a lot of growing and a lot of movement when you open up and you are able to share things about yourself. I don't know why that felt very pointed to say, but for some of you, it could be very possible that you are holding back a certain secret because you feel like you may not be accepted. But I do feel like the people around you are trying to let you know that your secret is safe and that you are going to be safe expressing who you are to them. Lastly, we also have the Ram and Dahlia with determination. And we did pull Aries earlier as well. Did we? Did we pull Aries? I feel like we did. I know we pulled Taurus. Maybe we didn't. My apologies if we didn't. That could have been group 3. But this does give off this feeling of kind of like with Taurus, that sort of determination of setting a goal and pushing for it kind of thing, that moving forward no matter what kind of vibe. So you being someone who is very determined and pushing yourself toward a certain outcome is something that I think you have a big strength in. And I think that other people see it too. Like they know that you are the person to go to if they want something to get done, or if you say you're going to do something, you really follow through with it. And that can be really hard for a lot of people, is like if they have interest in a lot of things all over the place, you tend to be the kind of person who, as soon as you make the determination of, of what it is that you want out of your life, you really push for that. And that is very inspirational for people around you. Again, they might see you as a leader because of this, because you know what you want and you are able to go for it and you kind of manifest this thing into your life. They're like, wow, like that's like an amazing thing that they were able to do. They said that they were going to complete this goal or this dream, and now like a year later, wow, they did it kind of thing. And they do see that as such a strong trait of yours. So overall, this was a very beautiful reading. I feel like you guys just have to allow yourselves to go through this healing process, and you should kind of keep in mind the people around you and like listen closely to what they're saying in case you think they might be worried about you. Try to give them a little bit more reassurance. Be on the lookout for somebody who might be having a big old crush on you, because I'm getting that feeling that somebody is there for you and they're wanting a little bit more. And also overall, just that you are in a very stable position right now to make moves that can really change the outcome of your life and really give you so much more towards your dreams and the goals that you have. So of course, if you liked this video or it resonates with you, remember to leave a like, go ahead and hit subscribe to join the Crow Coven. And also, if you got this far in your reading and you wanted to leave a little indicator of that, put a butterfly emoji in the comments below. And let me know also if this kind of sounds like what it is that you're going through and how people may see you. I would love to know how close I am with you on this. So of course, thank you so much for getting to the end of your reading, and I will see you guys in the next video.